morning thoughts. I realized that I think I'm gonna maybe make this a thing. I don't know. Even if it's not, oh my God, Bonnie's literally licking her. What are you doing, baby? I always find it interesting how dogs groom themselves. Like how cats are really self-sufficient and self-sustaining. Dogs too. Right, baby? Anyways, early morning thoughts. I did fall asleep on the couch. This is my life. I have a pillow on the floor. I don't know. I swear to God, I need to. And I talked to a therapist about this, about procrastinating and why we procrastinate. And she says it's usually because it's when it's things that we don't want to do that we put off. So I'm like, because there's things that I need to do, and I'm like, why don't I do them? It's not like washing dishes. Washing dishes is different. It's like my certification thing, and it's because it's like interesting because I would love to teach kids and stuff, but I guess I also want to have like a job, like I'm not saying it's not a real job, because there's people who actually, I've looked on YouTube, and there's like girls who teach like on Outschool, and there's other platforms too. I think Preply, Cambly is another one. But so today's kind of, it's interesting. I feel like, and I don't know if that's me, if it's my fault, because it's bittersweet, sort of bittersweet, because I had a really good conversation with somebody as of recent, like dating wise, right? And we, these are my thoughts on dating. So if you're like a woman and you're like kind of in the same boat as me, and you're like, oh, you're like, the dating pool sucks, but also I'm in Vermont, so the only, like, there's Canada and there's New York, there's New Hampshire, Rhode Island, there's Massachusetts, but not having a car makes it hard too, because I'm the kind of person that I would, if I had a car, I would drive down like halfway to like meet somebody, or maybe even like an hour, if like, because that's just me, right? It sounds weird, but I would. But yeah, so it's not to complain, but it is hard, and I'm someone, I could, if I want to, have a fling, and maybe it'd be fun, and you wonder, can a fling turn into a serious thing? I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video on that. I don't know. But kind of bittersweet, because I woke up and I'm like, I had to send this text message. I try not to over-explain myself, but I feel bad sometimes if I stop talking to someone or whatever. I just feel bad because I'm like, it is someone's feelings, but at the same time I look at myself, I'm like, the only reason I will ever, this is my things, my standards, the only time, Bonnie's looking at me like, this is so serious, the only time I will ever cut someone off or like stop talking to them is if I sense that they're being deceptive or dishonest in any way, and that happened recently. And it's also hard when you're like an intuitive person and you do card readings and energy readings or whatnot, and then you try to start something with somebody and they hide information from you, or you feel like they're trying to undermine you. You would think like at 33, men are like in their early 30s, late 30s, or early 40s even, like what, like we say, Ashley, but why would they lie to you? Well, usually if they're married, or if they I don't know, it's usually if they're married or have a girlfriend already, and I don't know how they get away with it, but they're able to. I know we live in a society now where like there's ethical non-monogamy, and people choose to like be in a committed relationship, but they also date separately. To this, I still won't. I can understand. So here's the thing. I can understand. I'm just trying to cover my chest. I can understand if you're like, I don't know, if you're like dating or whatever, and like, let's say you're in the courting phase of dating and you're meeting different people, that's, I think, understandable. Like if you're courting somebody and you're dating, meaning like, how do I say this? Like if you're, like if you're talking to different people, you're in the courting stage of dating. There's nothing exclusive, nothing set in stone. You're just like, you're talking to people and you're going on dates and you're meeting them and you're like, this guy kind of does it for me, this one doesn't. That, I think, okay. And if you're honest and open, but we've come to a society now, and it's so interesting. I've met guys where like they'll tell me, oh, but I want to be the only one that you talk to, and I'm like, well, why? Like, you're probably talking to like 50 million people. And that's a red flag. I go, nope, possessive, prone to jealousy. You know, you have to have a certain level of maturity to, I think, date successfully. And I'm just noticing it was bittersweet because I woke up and I'm like, man, like I'm talking, this dude, we had like what I call a virtual sleepover. Some people may go, that's like too fast or whatever, but we had a really good conversation. And it kind of reminds me of a time when I was living in Philadelphia that like I matched with this guy. He was of like Indian descent or Hindu or something, and he was really cute. He was like a physician or studying to be a physician, or he was like trying to, it took a while for him to get his boards to do the USMLE and whatnot. But I think he did med school in like the Caribbean or something. And so we ended up talking for like 4 hours on the phone. I'll never forget, my parents had come to help me move to Philadelphia, and we were unloading and stuff. They were there for the week, and I had matched with him while they were there. And they were, at one point, I remember, I felt fortunate that my parents did this, that they literally helped me, like they unpacked stuff or whatever. But I remember I was on the phone with him for like 4 or 5 hours, and I remember my mom telling me, she's like, you need to, it was actually good advice, I will say that. She actually said, don't, like, you don't want to be like, you know, like when you're a teenager. And for one, I will say I didn't really date that much. I didn't really date at all. Like, no, I did. I take it back. I did have my first boyfriend at like 14, 15 in sophomore year. And so I have to take that back. I did, but I wasn't really like, I wasn't a floozy. Like I didn't hook up or whatever. My dog is playing with the little gorilla toy that she hasn't played with in like eons. It's always fun to see like when she decides to like go to the toy bin and like figure out what she wants. So anyways, yeah, so this one dude, we did talk for whatever in Philadelphia a long time, and my mom, I remember, said to me, she's like, you don't want to, she's so funny. She's like, she's so funny. This is my dog right now. She randomly will decide to get a toy, and then she's like, I'm going to invest in this one. I'm recording you. Anyways, so long story short, my mom always said, like, you don't want to be like overly like available ever, or like so. There's also a quote that says like, things start the way things end as fast as things started, as quick as they end. So it reminds me of the song Ride by Taylor Swift. She says loving him was like driving a new Maserati down a dented street. That's such a good visual. Think driving a new Maserati, a fast car, beautiful luxury car, down a dead end street, meaning you're going nowhere. It's fast, it's fun, it's flirty, but it's really going nowhere, right? Faster than the wind, passionate as sin, ended so suddenly. My dog decided to join me now on the couch. She's on my feet. She sits at the end of the couch. Like, I sit at this side next to my nightstand thing, and then she sleeps over there if I decide to sleep on the couch. Hi, baby. Hello. I have a heck of a lot of dishes to do. If anyone wants to see my my kitchen, you're gonna be like, this girl needs priorities. And I do, wholeheartedly, I really do. I considered, like, I was trying to download this app last night that was called Fabulous, and apparently, like, it helps break tasks down into more, like, achievable goals, like, doable goals. But you had to, like, pay a subscription or something, and then I tried to give, like, $1 for 2 weeks. I don't know. It didn't work out, so, like, whatever. But I do realize, I'm like, I don't know if I need I don't know if I need to, like, make, like, a calendar or something and put blocks. I used to do really well when I had, like, a schedule with blocks. So, granted, I'm also not working right now, so it's a little bit difficult to... I'm like, I have a whole day. I'm like, oh, I could sleep all day if I want to, but then I'm like, I feel bad because there's people who can't walk, or, like, they're confined to, like, a hospital bed, or they're sick, and I have this whole day I can do whatever. Granted, it's raining outside right now, so I want to be mindful of that. But anyways, to go back to what I was saying, you never want to, like, be so wholly invested in something like that quick. Like I think maybe an hour, 2 hours is okay. And then, but someone can contest me and go, wait a second, like 4 hours? Like I would love to be on the phone with someone that long. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I also remember like sometimes if you start off really passionate, like hot and heavy with someone, and then it's liable to, I think, crashing and burning at the same time. I think there has to be like increments, you know, like you have to like, I don't know, there has to be a steady progression. I'm not saying like what the ideal thing would be, but like I kind of mapped it out. So if you want to watch a video, I don't know how people do on YouTube when they do like, they're like, watch this one in the corner and do this one. I have no clue. I don't know how to edit videos, but I did do a video about like friends with benefits, and I conceptualized or broke down exactly like the trajectory of a traditional conventional relationship versus a friends with benefits one. And I've done the friends with benefits thing. I can't really was successful, but I tried. But I am at the point, and sometimes I will say, sometimes it's warranted. Sometimes a more short-term fling is warranted, and sometimes it can turn into something real, like something serious. You never know. It's like basically like taking a lease on a car, or like test driving a car, right? You don't really, there's like terms and conditions, but like it's not yours yet. You didn't buy it, but you know, you're testing it out to see how. I don't know if that's a good analogy for like a relationship or something you're dating, but it's kind of like that, right? You're like trying to see, like, hey, is this something I want to like invest in long term, or just, you know, take for like a short ride around the block. Or, you know, have a lease where, you know, maybe it's a year, 2 year, 3 year lease. Maybe it's a rental car. I don't know, maybe you go to Enterprise and you're like, hey, I want to rent this for like 2 or 3 months. You know, and then if you like it, you're like, maybe you go to the dealership and you're like, hey, I want to buy this car, lease it. I don't know. That's like the best analogy I could have to talking about turning flings into like a real thing. But it is kind of bittersweet because I woke up and I'm like, I told this dude, I basically said, like, if he respected my boundaries, he won't, like, text me again, because I kind of caught him, like, I don't know, with people's lives, their own business, but I've had this happen before. I don't know if this happened anywhere else. On Bumble, they have, like, a thing where you can see the location of somebody, and not that I was intentionally snooping to see where he was, but I was it always ends up being, like, when I'm admiring someone's photos, and I'm like, oh, he's so cute, I'm like, I can't believe I landed this dude, right? Because we were having really good conversation. The chemistry was just off the charts, right? And like I could tell, I didn't sleep with him, but the sexiness was definitely there. And it's good I didn't sleep with him because I'm actually in my ovulation time, so this is my fertile window. So I want to be responsible because I don't take hormonal birth control, and God forbid, like let's say we did get physical or whatever, I would have been screwed. Literally like screwed, like I could have gotten pregnant, right? Because withdrawal and all that is only so effective as it can be, right? There's always that slight chance, even with if you use a condom, it's still possible that you can, you know, what if it breaks? What if it leaks? And then boom, you bring a baby into the world. And I don't want to do that right now, out of respect for all unborn children, right? Because ideally, if I have a child, I would preferably like to have it be to, like, not out of wedlock, but like out of like in a relationship with somebody, preferably married, right? That's, I mean, ideal, not like, you know, I know there's a lot of people now that they hook up and it's an unplanned pregnancy, or, you know, and they're dating and their boyfriend girl. It happens, it's life, right? But I want to be mindful because babies are expensive. They're a very big investment, like emotionally. You have to nurture them, tend to them. And being someone who studied child development, I would never want to just be like, boop, baby, even though they're super cute. You know, I'm sure this one would love a baby. She would be all over a baby. But anyways, but yeah, it was kind of bittersweet because I kind of like said, you know, and it wasn't anything. I wasn't scared to date him. I wasn't, you know, whatever. It's just, I kind of, he said that he was going somewhere here in Vermont, and then I looked at the thing and it said he wasn't, and then I'm like, why would, you know, why, I don't get why someone would lie like that. It seems really silly to me, actually. So, amongst other things, because I do read cards and stuff, and the reading said that, like, that he was unavailable, that he was cheating, actually, and he had children, and he told me he didn't have children. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why do dudes do this? Like, I don't get, like, why, you know, I don't know, maybe if I was a dude, I would be so forthright. I would say, this is my status, this is what I'm looking for. Maybe I'm in a weird period of my life, but this is what I want. And, you know, that's it. It's so easy to me. Like, it's so easy in terms of dating. And for some reason, men nowadays can't. And I remember my mother would be like, oh, but it's the dating apps. You're on the apps and you're never going to find someone solid. I beg to differ. There's people I've met along the way when I was working at the hospital, different nurses, different coworkers, where they met someone from Tinder. Like they have a relationship from Tinder. I met like few people and they're like, they had it. And I'm like, but you wonder, did they start off as flings or just physical connections? And did they, so I don't know. I think it's possible. I'm hopeful. I mean, put it this way, look, I'm on there and I'm someone who has traditional values and, beliefs and stuff like that. Do I believe that maybe, having a short-term fling is whatever? Yeah, I mean, it depends. It really just depends on your situation and what you want. I'm not going to shun people. Like sometimes friends with benefits is a more convenient thing, right, for somebody, right? Maybe you are someone you got out of a really poopy relationship. Maybe you're not like maybe you've done a long-term thing with somebody. You're engaged and then you broke off the engagement. Or let's say, not God forbid, but let's say you were married for a long time and you're just getting out into the dating pool and you're not really ready for something serious with somebody, but you want to have companionship, you want to be physically intimate with somebody, but you want to enjoy their company. A fling or friends with benefits might be a good thing, it's not so serious. You don't have to talk about like marriage and engagement because you were doing that before. And you just want to, meet someone. So I'm not against it. It's just, for me, it's like it would be nice to meet someone who is who they say they are. That's another thing. My card said that he was catfishing me and he was like lying about his like identity. And I'm like, I don't understand these catfish situations. And trust me, I've been there. I literally have been catfished. I've been on where I'm talking to a guy on Hinge and I started like, this is word to the wise. If you're dating, vet the person. I'm not saying go and do a background check. It's okay to ask for their last name. Think about it. You want to know their last name. If you're at least been a week talking to them, it's okay. Google them. I didn't Google this dude yet. Like, I didn't, whatever, but Google them. Do a phone call with them. There's, in the apps, you can, like, actually do a phone call, like, in the app. That way you don't have to give your number out. There was a thing that I saw on a website. They said if you're not really privy to, like, giving your real number out, there's Google Voice. I had Google Voice years ago when I was doing yoga and I wanted to like communicate people, not with my cell phone personal, but like I wanted to do like a business thing. So I used Google Voice. It redirects, like it like you use your own phone number, but you can look it up. But basically my point is you could do Google Voice. That was what I saw on the website for safety reasons. Also in the apps, there's also FaceTime. Do a FaceTime. And a real man, a gentleman, is not going to be, like, he's going to be okay with doing these things with you. If he's only interested in you for sex, he's going to be like, this is too many hoops to jump through. This is so much work. No. If he likes you, if someone genuinely likes you, like they want to get to know you, they're going to be like, sure, I'll do the STD testing. Someone told me, I forgot who it was, to ask them for an STD test and get the proof of it. And I'm like, is this too much? But no, it's not. When you think about it, it's not. It's your sexual health. You want to live a long life that's healthy and prosperous and clean and whatever. These are the steps you need to do. And you may seem picky to some men. You may seem high maintenance or that you have standards, but you're not. All you're doing is you have self-respect, meaning you love yourself enough to, right? Because your dating life should be synonymous with who you are as a person, right? And sometimes it's hard. You're going to weed out the guys that are just like there for a short time, not a long time. And you're going to weed out the ones that don't know what they want. Because I've been on the other end of it where the guy's like, oh, but I like you and I want to hook up with you, but I don't know if I'm ready for a serious thing. Or I really do like you, and they go back and forth and they're flip-floppy. We're humans. That's normal. But, I will say it is a bit harder if you're an empath and intuitive and you're trying to date. Bro. It's so hard because, you do card readings and you're like, but this guy's bullshitting me. And you're like, God, what are you trying to tell me? Like, I feel grateful sometimes that I have this ability of discernment and intuition, but man, it makes dating so hard because people aren't being forthright, or they like I literally had to tell the guy in a voice recording, in a text message, I was like, I'm a card reader. I do energy readings and stuff like that. I'm kind of psychic or whatever. or intuitive, and like my readings are saying that you're da 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 da. And I'm like, and he didn't have a response. Like he didn't, because I think I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right. People should study that. Like there should be an experiment and people study like psychic, intuition, and like, I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, so those are my thoughts for today. My dog fell asleep. It's rainy outside. All my windows are closed. There's supposedly like a festival or something going on, which this dude wanted we were gonna go to, or he was to take me to, but since it's raining, it would be kind of poopy. And I do have a ton of dishes to clean. I don't even know if I'd want to show that on camera. It looks like a hot mess. Also, I don't have a dishwasher. That's one thing. I don't have a dishwasher like an automatic, one that you have in every apartment. They don't have that here. Job updates. I am interviewing, fortunately, sign of the cross. Thank you, Jesus. I always say if there's like an opportunity that comes about, I thank myself, but I also, for being proactive, but I also thank the universe, because I'm like, thank you, universe. Because you never know. Getting a job these days is hard. There's so many applicants. I did a video on that as well. And I just wish people would take a chance to get to know me, because if they got to know me, they would see that I'm serious about something, and that even if I don't have the skills or abilities to do something, everything that I've done in my life, if I wasn't trained in, like if I didn't have an experience in it, I actually realized that I've done pretty well, like getting experience and getting training, and then I excel in it. It's pretty amazing. I've noticed, whether it's like hospitality, when I did musical theater, ballet. Point was never something I was good at, to be honest. Point was kind of hard. So, yeah. Moss, that's it. My happy wall is still strong, going strong. I put my little chakra thing on the, there's this little thing on the, that's like kind of, you can't really see it, but it looks like it's vertical and it has all the chakras. I added that. I have like a month to go. I have the month of May to still be here, and then I have like very little of the month of June. So I'm trying to decide. I don't even know if I can extend the lease here. And it's sometimes I'd like to go abroad, I really would, but I'm kind of like nervous too, because I feel like, my idea of like going abroad is like, and it's sad to say this, but sometimes people get kidnapped and trafficked, like, and I literally think of the movie with Liam Neeson, where he's like, they were like, I have your daughter, and he's like, I will find you, and I will kill you. That's what I think of when I think of going abroad. And the movie Mamma Mia, where they're like, dancing queen. Yeah. That's, so I don't know. And there's so much that goes into that. Visas, getting there. And I also say, like, if you're going to move somewhere, test it out beforehand. Because I could move somewhere and hate it. Like, let's say I went to Greece. Let's say I went to Italy. I know they have, like, villas in Italy that you can, like, buy for $1. But I think you have to show proof that you're going to invest at least $100,000 and more into renovating the property. So I don't really have that in my possession right now. I used to 3 years ago, but then all this craziness happened and I had to, yeah. I don't want to be like Diaries of a, they say like Diaries of a wimpy kid, Diaries of a broke girl, which I don't like to identify as. I'm more than that. But yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm just scared because I feel like there's so much political divisiveness in this country. I don't know what that's going to look like, in the future. God forbid we go into a civil war. And I'm like, to me, I wish, and you might say, oh, but then why didn't you go back to Florida? Well, there's a few reasons. Florida is very expensive. You definitely need a car. I don't have one. And Miami was kind of where I went through some like all the scary stuff and whatnot. So, like harassment and stalking and whatnot. So I'm kind of like not privy. I mean, I will say this, I do miss it. Like if I can go to West Palm or like Naples, like more, and instead of Miami, like more northern Florida, I would totally do it in a heartbeat. But, it's just, even moving now, I don't really even have the funds to move. I'm like literally like, when I say bikini bottom, I'm like bikini bottom. I don't mean like a bikini bottom. I mean like SpongeBob reference, like, like instead of, I always try to, so when things are like instead of saying porn, I say corn. because it doesn't seem so derogatory or like whorish. And then like, or demeaning, I should say, right? And then instead of saying like rock bottom, like when you hit rock bottom, I call it bikini bottom because it makes light of like a more like poopy situation. So I am kind of in bikini bottom, but I don't live in a pineapple under the sea. So it's SpongeBob SquarePants reference. So I'm just trying to figure out, I need to, start from I just need to start over. I'm starting basically from scratch. I should make hashtag starting from scratch. And I think we all do. Like, there's people who literally, like, some people live a nomadic life and they live in a van and they just travel everywhere, but even a van, I can't even, like, if I wanted an RV, can't afford that. Because some RVs are really cool. I'm going to be honest. Some of them are decked out with, like, everything, and you could travel. Think about it, like a house on wheels. You can travel wherever you want. That's pretty cool. But that costs a pretty penny. The same thing with, I'm trying to think, like vans. And I know this one probably would not like living in a van. If she feels cooped up here, like imagine living in a van that like is a Sprinter van. I wouldn't be able to get like a camper van. You get like a small little van. I can't do that to her. She would hate that. So I don't know. I need to do like, I haven't done manifestation work in a long time, like law of attraction stuff. I kind of just try to shift my thinking and mindset, if anything, like to think more positively. So if anyone has any tips or tricks on, if you're into like spirituality, manifestation and whatnot, let me know. Because I used to be big on that. I remember when I was like growing up and even like in my early 20s and I got into yoga and stuff, I was like, they're like, manifest soulmate. And I remember I used to put my headphones on and I was like, I used to listen to affirmations like, I am attracting my soulmate. They are whatever, and you like train your brain to like, and I'm like, bro, like I can't believe I did that sometimes because I'm like, I do believe in positive affirmations. I'm not going to knock that. I do believe like if you're like, because what you think in your head, like what your thoughts are, your internal reality is going to reflect itself externally, right? So that's kind of how I see it. So I don't know, I'm trying to shift my thinking. Also, I know that if you stay on a couch all day, you're never gonna like, you have to be proactive, you have to take initiative. Sorry if I will say my original plans was I wanted to move to Philadelphia just because there was like, I don't know, there was a lot to do there. Not to say necessarily I had the best time in my life, but they had this, if you're from Philadelphia, stop by Sabrina's Cafe, the best fried chicken and herb butter spread ever. With waffles, chicken and waffles. And the best hot chocolate ever. I don't know, serendipity and like frozen hot chocolate in Las Vegas and New York, I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. And I've yet to try French hot chocolate or Italian hot chocolate abroad, so. But Sabrina's Cafe is really good over there. If you're ever into sound bowl meditation, I swear to God, this lady is like a fairy manifested in human form. Her name is Yunmi, and she does Tibetan singing bowl stuff. I don't know what, it's like magic. Like literally, like she does the singing bowls, and you lie there, and each bowl note that she plays corresponds to a certain chakra in your body. I feel so 10 times better. I used to feel so good stepping out of her class. Also, another thing, Modern Sanctuary Spa, which apparently they're changing ownership and they sold it. So I was kind of like, that was kind of sad because they had the best masseuses. There was a lady who was the best Reiki healer and masseuse ever. So that's kind of, I don't know what's going on with there, but they were really good. They also have a French if you want to learn French, they have a French school for adults. That was pretty cool. Trying to think what else. Sabrina's Cafe. They have multiple locations. Modern Sanctuary Spa. There's a restaurant called Alice Pizza. Again, I don't know why, but it's called Alice Pizza. They had the best gelato ever, and really good caprese paninis, and just really oh my God, they made the best pesto sauce. Like it was a pesto Genovese sauce, so yummy, and I miss it. Like but I will say it was kind of like New York in the sense it's a concrete jungle. Like you don't have a lot of greenery. There's like plus sides to living in a residential area like this, small town living, I guess, or not even small town living, just living residential versus living like in a high rise. Because when you live residential, I don't know, you have the neighborhood, you have the grass, it's just a different feeling versus when you live in a high rise, it's just buildings, 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 buildings. I don't know, it's very concrete jungle. And I don't know if I'm privy to that. And I will say maybe dating is better in a larger city because you have more options, right? I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. So I'm kind of like trying to figure out places to move to. Rhode Island is nearby, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. When I go by vibes, I'm like, I don't know. Rhode Island, I don't really know. New Hampshire, not really feeling it. I know there's Massachusetts, but Massachusetts is so expensive. Oh my God. I did not realize that when I went on Furnish Finder, because that's how I'd have to rent. I don't have enough funds to do like a traditional apartment. And I would probably need a cosigner too, to be honest. You know, you have to, when you rent an apartment, if you've never rented an apartment, you need 3 times your income or a cosigner. And at the time I moved to Philadelphia, I had tons of savings in my bank account, and I was making $67,000 or $64,000 roughly. So a year, that was my salary. But it didn't work out. So I keep telling myself, should I move more West Coast? You know, like I've heard good things about Missouri. Minnesota is really cold, but I don't know. You know, Ohio, don't know. California, that's opposite end of the United States. Virginia, I would not go back to. South Carolina, I don't really know. North Carolina, I did consider, because there's Charlotte, North Carolina, and but then you also, I feel like you need a car there. That's why I'm like, I need a walkable city, unless I got a scooter. I don't know. And I don't mean like a scooter that you put your 2 feet on. I mean like a kind of looks like a Vespa scooter. There was one on this website that was so cute, and it was pink, and I'm like, can you imagine me like driving around in a pink scooter? I would stick out like a sore thumb, but that's me. That's my personality. I love the color pink. So yeah. But this is my life. I would show my dishes, but I'm kind of scared too because they look really bad. I might do it just to, even though this might wake this one up. She seems pretty cozy right now. She seems pretty comfy. Hold on, let me fix I am in my like night dress. I finally used my store credit for Adore Me, that lingerie service it's actually lingerie and clothes. I didn't know they had clothes until recently. So this is actually it doesn't look that bad when I look at it like this, but this is what it looks like right now. I have pots and pans. I have a cutting board with spices on it. I have my plate over here. Basically, it extends out all the way over here. So those are my dishes. Yes, the lights are off right now because I just got up. And it is Sunday morning. If I could, I would make a brunch, but I might do Cocoa Puffs. Yes, I do eat food that like a 8-year-old child would eat. Don't judge me. I'm gonna live my life as I see fit. Oh, she didn't move. So that's that. I'm sure she did pee-pee. Did she do her business? Yes. So those are my thoughts for today. If you're in the same boat as me and you're like, oh, dating sucks, I think so this is my mentality. I told myself, it's almost like that Helen Keller quote, life is a succession of lessons that have to be lived in order to be understood. You're going to go through some not so great situations when it comes to dating. Or same thing with jobs. Some people are lucky and they stay at one job for years. Kudos to you. Other people, they need to kind of find their niche and find their way. I think everyone's kind of doing their own thing. There's no like perfect way to do life or even date, I think. So for me, what I tell myself is I was going to have to meet a few frogs to kiss a prince. Not an actual prince, but like a decent human being who has integrity. He is who he says he is. He's not married. And again, I want to reiterate, I'm okay with, I guess, the E&M thing when you're courting people and you talk to multiple people. But when you're in it, like when you have that talk and you're like, I want to be exclusive with somebody, and then you have like other little offshoot situations, I'm not really like big on that. And especially like when you get married and then you have children, what if you fall in love with the other person? Like, do you have a second wife? Like, do you have to the guy, like, isn't that polygamy? I don't know, right? Isn't polygamy illegal? I'm pretty sure it's illegal, right? Ziggy, is polygamy illegal? I don't know. We'll see.
According to Wikipedia,
let's see.
Polygamy is illegal in all 50 states, but not federally.
What does that mean? How could something be illegal but not federally? I don't get it. Okay, anyways. So, I don't know. To me, that's like if you have a harem and like, but like, what if the second relationship, the dude falls in love with the girl, and then, but he has the first wife who's, I don't know. That would be so hard. I don't know. I can't do that. And if you have children, like, that's like polygamy, basically. Like, that's polygamy, you know? There's a documentary on that, actually, on Netflix. No, not on Netflix, sorry, Disney Plus. It's like, it's not Secret Life of Mormon Wives, it's something else. It's like, I forgot. But anyways, I'm not really into, like, having two husbands or three, or two boyfriends. Like, that would just, it would be too complicated for me, I think. And you could say, oh, but it'd be fine. You don't have to stay with one person. But I'd be like, why? Well, if you can meet one person, and hear me out. If you're someone who's in polyamory, just hear me out. If you can meet one person, have really great sex with that person, build a really strong relationship with them, why would you not want to do that? Right? And a guy with, you know, if any guy that lands me, let me tell you, they're going to be really lucky, because since I started being intimate later on in life, my sex drive is like, woo! You know, so I tell myself I have the sex drive of like a 20-year-old boy. You know, like, especially when I'm ovulating. So it's like any man that lands me is going to be really lucky, because, you know, men think about sex a lot, right? So as a woman, I feel like I notice my love language. I like to give gifts, so like acts of service, but I also I like physical touch. Like, I think I do well, especially after going through trauma. Physical touch is really nice. So I say whoever lands me is going to be really lucky, because they'll never have to ask for sex, ever. You know, there's some couples you see, like, I've heard of couples who literally, I'm not kidding, they have a calendar and they have kids and they have to schedule sexy time. Like, I'm not kidding, they have to schedule sexy time. And they're married and they live under one roof. I would hate that. I would be the type of woman, if I was a wife, I would be like, I don't know, I would probably do all the wifey things, like the cooking, the cleaning, whatever. And I would have no problem doing it, because I know I'd care about my spouse, because, like, right? They say, like, happy wife, happy life, but it's like happy husband, happy life. I don't know. You know, and also too, I think women, and this is just me, and it actually sounds very, not sexist, but traditional gender roles, like, dictate, like, and this, again, if you, please don't take this the wrong way, but I do think that if you're married, you are obligated, this sounds very Handmaid's Tale-ish, but I think you're obligated to make your husband happy. It sounds bad. Like, I'm, like, hear me out. I'm not sexist. I'm not like, oh, women need to be into like sexual servitude or be subservient to their husbands. It's not that. I think there needs to be a reciprocal, like, exchange of, like, energy, in the sense of a woman should, especially since a man's sex drive is a more, what's the word? Not stronger, but, like, I don't know. They just, men communicate, like, viscerally with touch and whatnot, and women, we're more emotional. But for me, it's twofold, right? But I will say that if you're a wife, you kind of, like, I don't know, I mean, I feel like you're kind of obligated to pleasure your husband, like, keep them happy. Because why do people cheat? Because the husband feels like the spark is gone. Maybe you have children and you're not having sex as much. That's just my thing. I always say, I always want to date my person. Whoever I end up, I always say I want to continue dating them, right? Go on a date. Schedule a date. Like, if you're married and you feel like your relationship is like, you know, and you just, there's different priorities, your husband works, or, like, let's say you're the husband and, like, you're like, but I want to have sex with my wife, and yeah, do that. Do it. And then make it spicy too. Because I think you see the people and you wonder why they cheat, right? Think about it. Because the person gets bored and they don't want, and then they go looking elsewhere, right? Because you don't want to ever become roommates with your person. And I see that a lot. I think people get in the relationship, they have the honeymoon phase, and then they get engaged, they date, whatever, then they get married, and then some people are really good, I think, at keeping the spark alive. And you see that through, like, Instagram videos, and they're like, oh, we're so happy, we're like 2 years, 3 years anniversary, yay, you know. And you don't have to be, another thing is, you don't have to be rich to, like, continue to stay in love with somebody, because you think, oh, you know, you have to go on vacations, you have to do all this stuff. No, that's not true. I think you can be on a budget, you can maybe scale back on things and still have fun. Like, for example, I was gonna go do the thing today with the dude sorry, I covered my, I was going to go do the thing today with the dude at the food truck, and it was free. I don't think it cost anything. You know, it was a city event, so there's so many things. You can go to a library, you can go to a picnic, you can go to a meetup group or something, you know. But I would say, and again, this is coming from a single person that's not married, but I do feel like an old soul. I feel like I've been on earth, I've done earth, and I'm kind of like, I'm like, God, like, let me know when things are going to change a little bit. But I also have to change as well, right? But I will say married life, I think, to keep it interesting, and there has to be communication. Your sex life has to be fire, right? Meaning, like, you always, and that's why I'm saying, again, I don't want to come off as sexist, whatever, but, like, I think the woman should pleasure her man and not be, like, in sexual servitude, like, subservient, right? It's equal, right? But you want to keep it, right? And I do, and if you're someone who doesn't believe in oral sex, I do think, sometimes I think men prefer oral sex and vaginal sex, in my opinion. I don't know what it is. I think it's seeing a woman, like, you know, in the hair, and if you have long nails, like, you know, the hand part of it, you know. I don't have long nails. Maybe I need to grow my nails out. Or get the acrylic ones. Get the press on. I don't know. It's, again, I think men are more visual creatures than women, and they like the idea of, like, that's why I think when I wear lingerie and stuff, it's, like, fun, because it's the idea of a challenge, like, they, you know, it's also the illusion, right? Like, you're covering up different parts of yourself, and then they get to, like, you know. And again, I'm not a sex therapist, I'm not a dating coach. I'm just going by experience. And this is someone who, you know, I waited a really long time to be sexually intimate with somebody, and I think that's why, you know, I did the casual hookup thing, and it's funny because, like, right now there's someone I was scrolling through Bumble yesterday, and I came across this dude that I knew previously, and I was like, should I reach out to him or not? I don't know. I forgot how I ended things off with him and why, but I was kind of, but the nature of the context of the time, I was looking for casual stuff, so I'm kind of like, I don't know how to approach that. But I did see him, and like, on the app, and I'm like, and he looked good too. This is the bad thing. I was like, no. I'm like, no. I'm like, calm down, loins. You know, you have to realize so we have in our brains, just so people understand, there's, like, the id, ego, super ego. The id is our pleasure-seeking kind of reptilian brain. What I mean by reptilian is, like, when you think of a reptilian, you think of more archaic times that are more primitive. Basically, you're motivated by, like, sex, water, like, physical needs. There's no emotion. It's not emotion space. It's like sex, 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 water, water, food, sex, water. That's the primitive brain. That's the id part of the psyche. And then you have your ego, which is the rational thinking part, and then you have the super ego, which is your higher level thinking, more super soul self, right? And it's like, part of me is like, shut up, id. And I'm like, calm down, loins. Like, keep it to yourself. You know how they tell a guy, keep it in your pants? I'm like, keep it inside, loins. Because, you know, especially when you're ovulating, your vagina will be like, men. Like, I need this. There was a funny meme I actually saw that was, like, depicting that, where the girl actually, like, pretends she dresses up as different parts in costume of, like, as the penis, and she dresses up as, like, the vagina. Like, I forgot what her name is. She's a comedian. But I'm like, it's so true, though. Because, you know, once you get to that time of the month, your body's like, I crave sex. I don't know about other women. So, but that's, like, me. And, you know, you have to be careful because, you know. So, anyways, I don't know. That's my life for today. And, sorry, my hair looks like a hot mess. I do need to wash it. I'm debating if I wanted to sleep a little more because it is Sunday. And yeah, coping, healing from trauma, deception, lies, stalking, all that wonderful stuff. It's a journey. Life is a journey. And I will say, if anything out of this morning vlog I take out of it, don't be afraid to assert your, not dominance, but, like, your power in terms of relationships and stuff. Like, don't feel bad. I will say that if I do cut someone off, I do tell them, like, I don't want to come off as a bitch. I'm not trying to sound mean, but, you know, XYZ, da 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 da. Like, I do that because I don't want to be rejected, right? No one wants to be rejected. No one wants to be on the receiving end of like you get ghosted, benched, whatever. So I try to be mindful of people's emotions and stuff because I wouldn't want, it hurts. Rejection hurts. It sucks. And I've been on that. Like there's been times where like when I was in Virginia and the dude, there was one guy, like we had great chemistry and stuff, and he, I had cut things off, and then a little bit later I wanted to like rekindle stuff. I was the one that cut it off, and I wanted to rekindle because, I don't know, I just kind of missed him, and, you know, and you have to be mindful, you know, of that. You know, and he actually didn't, I don't know if he responded back to me, but he said it very politely and maturely. He said, I'm not really like interested or doing that with you again, but I wish you all the best, or something like that. I don't know. So there are classy ways to go about it, but ghosting, I don't condone that at all. Unless someone abused you, that's different. If someone abused you or lied to you, then you can be like, no, block. I am trying to practice, because I block a lot of people the moment I sense something weird. I'm like, no, red flag, boom. I'm like, delete, you know. So I decided to unblock people that I blocked before, because it's probably so much time has passed, they probably don't even think about me or whatever. So I'm trying to practice the art of not blocking. We'll see how that goes. And the reason why I did block them was because I realized I didn't want to form trauma bonds with people. So I wanted to be more like mature about things, and, you know, and have the self-discipline and self-restraint to be like, if someone, let's say someone from my past reached back out to me and they're like, and I want to be able to have the maturity to be like, I appreciate you reaching out to me and thinking of me, but, you know, given our past history or how things transpired, I'm not really looking to reconnect or rekindle. That's it. So, yeah. Growth, healing, perspective, clarity, attraction, intimacy, all this stuff, you know. This is life, right? And this is my life, you know, 33, going through this kind of stuff that I never thought. If anyone told me I would be like my 10-year-old self, if I went back to my 10-year-old self, 9-year-old self, playing Barbies in my room back in Coral Gables, Florida, no one would prepare me for like what I've been through at all. I would be like, you, like, really? Like, you're gonna go through that? No. So, again, I give myself grace, and no 2 days are alike, and life is not meant to be perfect. It's a journey. I look at Earth as a school, right? We come here to learn. So that's kind of how I see it, you know. And you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna fuck up. You're gonna sleep with the wrong person. You may date the wrong person. They may be married for all you know, and they may lie to you and say they're not. That's not your fault. By the way, if a man ever, don't ever feel bad if you find out after that a man's cheating or married. That is not your fault. And if a woman comes after you and she's like, you're a homewrecker, you stole my husband because now we're separated because of you, and you need to be like, first of all, we are both women. You know, I feel for you. I empathize. Fortunately, I haven't had a woman ever come up to me and be like, you stole my husband. You're whatever. You're a whore. First of all, like, you have to empathize with that woman because she's probably upset because she found out her husband was disloyal and breach of marriage contract, infidelity, whatever. So you can understand her plight, right? But at the same time, as a woman to woman, other women need to understand that. I hope that, I haven't like been through this, but I've sensed it. You know, maybe I've had not so nice women come after me because who knows what's transpired. You know, I'm very much not a homewrecker. I'm not a Jolene. You know, there's a song by Dolly Parton, Jolene, 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 Jolene. And I didn't realize it was a song about like a woman taking another woman's man. When I literally, I swear to God, I wish someone could see the chat transcripts that I've had with men where I basically interrogate them. It's like almost if I put them in a room and I'm like, okay, and I put the light on them. I'm like, I literally, are you single? Like, are you single? Or are you just like single? There's a difference. Like, you have to ask these people this. Like, Tiffany Haddish did a really funny skit about this. And she's like, you know, do you live at home or do you have an apartment or do you live in a house? And she's like, I already know if she says apartment, that means that they don't know how to fix shit. I don't ask them that. I go, have you been incarcerated? Do you do drugs? What's your spiritual situation? Do you believe in God? If anyone's atheist, I will not date them. Because I do believe, I will go for agnostic and above. because if someone doesn't believe that there's something that exists, you don't have to believe in God, but like you have to believe that there's something that permeates, you know, all existence. I do think that. I ask that. I ask, you know, do you do drugs? Are you are you a swinger? I literally, I'm not kidding. I ask these things because I think I've encountered people like that in the past. Are you monogamous or are you non-monogamous? Do you have children?